A lot of people talk about the first time home buyer, but who talks about the first time home seller? Let's chat. When you bought your home, there were no shortage of advice. From mortgage tips to house hunting strategies, the world was full of guidance for first time home buyers. But now that you're on the other side, the selling side, for the first time, it might feel a little bit overwhelming and you're just supposed to know what's going to happen, what's happening in the process of selling your home. So selling a home isn't just about, buying in reverse. It comes with its own set of challenges, decisions, potential mistakes. Maybe you're wondering how much to list it for, whether you really need to repaint that living room. Do you really need staging? And why is the agent asking you to leave your house for every showing? These are all questions that will pop up as you become a first-time home seller. If this sounds very familiar, don't sweat it. Your past buying experience is about to come in handy. If you can remember what made a home appealing or a deal breaker when you were buying, you'll have a much better shot at getting your home sold quickly and for the best possible price. What you have to do is put yourself back in the buyer's shoes. As a first-time home seller, it's easy to focus on what you want from the sale. But the key to success is understanding what buyers are looking for. Think back to when you were looking at a home. What turned you off? What made it appealing? What did you fall in love with? What aggravated you when you were looking at houses? In case it's been a while since you were in those shoes, let's take a look at some of the things that you probably noticed as a buyer and use those insights to make your home as appealing as possible. First things first, the first thing you have to do is price it right from the beginning. A lot of times people will want to, let's give it a try. We'll try a little bit higher than what we think the market is. What if we get that buyer that's going to come in? You have to make sure the house is priced properly because you want to attract as many potential buyers as possible, which will make the sale a lot quicker and a lot easier. Today's buyers are a lot more informed. They see everything that's online. They have a lot more data. They'll see your listing and then they're going to do a Google Street View, Google Map View. They're going to do a Google search on your property. They're going to look at all the pictures, all the videos that are about your home, and then they're going to make an educated decision. If the price is too high, you're probably going to eliminate a lot of the buyers, which means your house will stay on the market a little bit longer. Pricing it right is definitely something you do not want to miss the boat. The other thing you want to do is you want to make it easy to show. The last thing you want to do is somebody trying to schedule a visit, rescheduling, and then not happening that day for whatever reason. Try to make the showings as easy as possible because then when a serious approved buyer wants to come see it, they can come see it. It's very frustrating if a buyer is wanting to go take a look at your house, but they can't get into it for whatever the reason is. Sometimes it does happen. You just can't show the house, but 99% of the time, make sure the house is easy to show. People can come in anytime they want to. The other thing we focus on is first impressions. Do first impressions matter? They 100% make a big difference. When potential buyers are coming to your house and the first thing they see is a beautiful home, nice landscaping, the grass is cut, everything shows well, the front door is freshly painted, the windows are clean, everything's been put away, there's no garbage cans on the side of the house. This is something that tells the buyers, first of all, that you take good care of your home, that you're proud of your home, you want to showcase it to potential buyers to make it look spectacular. This is something that goes a long way. If the first impressions aren't the greatest, this could lead to the house having to work a little bit harder to try to convince the buyers that this is the one for them. Make sure the first impression, as soon as they arrive to the property, the house is absolutely a 10 out of 10. The other thing we talk about all the time is declutter and depersonalize. Why do you need to do that? What you want to do is have the buyers come into the house. They've had a great first impression. Now they're inside the house. You want to try to depersonalize as much as you possibly can. It is sometimes a little bit tricky because you still want to live there, but when you're selling a house, when you're living in a house, those are two completely separate things. it's hard for the buyers to see themselves in all of your personal things. If they can visualize themselves in your home as their home, it will go a long way, because then it removes you as the current owner to them as the new potential buyers. It goes a long way. And this is why we talk about this all the time, because it does make a big difference. The other thing you want to make sure to address is all the small repairs and little things that you've been putting off to do for a long time. These are the little things about, painting baseboards, a leaky faucet, paint that's peeling, or doors that don't quite close properly. While you think it might be very irrelevant, not important, when buyers are looking through your house, this is something that a lot of times they will notice, and it will make a big difference in their decision making. If everything is perfect, everything works well, there's no issues, again, it's one less thing for them to have to worry about. Painting baseboards, cleaning up, fixing the little things, it doesn't take a whole lot of time. And sometimes if you have to hire out, those are small little things that you get a handyman in there for a day or so. And then all these little items that are on your to-do list are done, complete, out of the way. Buyers don't even think about it anymore as they're walking through the house. The other thing that is very important is smell matters more than you think. If you're walking into a house and it smells, a strong food smell or pets, things like that, people will notice that. They might not really say anything right away, but in their decision making, they will definitely think about, oh yeah, that's the house that had a different smell or a funny smell or a pet smell. Take the time, clean it up properly, make sure that smell is gone, because it does make a big difference whether we like it or not. The other thing you want to think of is listening to the feedback. When you were looking at homes as a buyer, you had a comment on probably every house that you looked. You didn't like this, you didn't like that. Oh, why would they have done this? Why would they have done that? This is something that the new buyers in your home will also be thinking of. If you have an outdated bathroom, wallpaper that's, back from the 80s, these are all, again, little things that people will possibly comment on. And you want to make sure that as you're getting your house ready to put on the market, you go through it as if you were a buyer in today's market. Trends change, colors change. You have to make sure that when you're selling your house, you are aware of all these little things, because when buyers are coming through, they will notice that. The one thing you want to remember is the possession date. When you were a first-time home buyer, it was probably easier because you were potentially living in an apartment, living at your parents' place, or living with friends. And then the possession date wasn't as critical or as important, because you could move out of where you were anytime and it was not going to be a big issue. When you're a first-time home seller, you'll probably have a date that you want to get out of your home. And then there's a date that you'll probably want to get into the next home. So what you're trying to do is trying to line up these two dates as close as possible. If not, there will probably be some costs that you need to talk to your realtor, but also talk to your mortgage broker about potentially bridge financing, what the costs would be. Because if you're moving out on this date and you're moving into the other house on a different date, there might be a little bit of an overlap of, even if it's a day or two or three or a week or two, it could make your move a little bit easier, but you have to be aware that lining up those two dates perfectly is probably not going to happen. So make sure you keep that in mind and add those costs to your budget of buying and selling, because if you end up having to go live in an Airbnb for a few days or a week or two, and you might have some costs of your furniture because you have to be out on a certain date, these are all things that you need to factor into your budget. And also be aware when you're selling your house and when you're buying a house, the possession date will most likely not happen on the same day. And it's probably a better idea not to have it on the same day, because you're trying to move out of your current home and then moving into the new home. You want to give yourself some time to be able to clean it up, clean it out, and freshen up the few little things, because this is something that when we're negotiating offers, the two things we negotiate the most is price and date. So possession date is very important as a first-time home seller. At the end of the day, the big takeaway is selling your first home can feel sometimes a little bit overwhelming. But if you shift your mindset and think like a buyer, you'll set yourself up for success. Pricing it right, making it easier to show, declutter, depersonalize, take care of all the little things that need to be taken care of. This will make your home selling process so much easier, stress-free. It's going to be so much better for you in the long run. So if you do like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share it. You can also subscribe to my channel because we put out these videos on a regular basis. But in the meantime, if you have any questions about selling your first home, make sure to give me a quick call, or you can always email me at jeanricher@jeanricher.com. Merci beaucoup et bonne journée.